All right, I'm live on YouTube, I believe. And I think I am now live on Facebook. Great. Good morning. Happy Election Day. Today is November the 3rd, and it is our National Election Day today. And I believe most kids are out of school today for Election Day. Um, and we have a beautiful, cold, crisp morning, and I'm excited to be here with you. My name is Tony Taylor, and I am looking forward to sharing my devotion, prayer, and gratitude with you this morning. If you have prayer concerns, I would like for you to put them in the chat box, or the prayer box as we call it. And our prayer warriors will lift up your prayer concerns, and we will go to the Lord in prayer for whoever it is, unspoken or spoken. Good morning, Sarah. Happy Election Day. And just know we have no control over what happens except to vote. And we all should get out there and vote if we haven't already. And what happens today is out of our circle of influence, and we just have to do our civic responsibility and vote. Good morning. Oh, that is great, Loney. Emily is now an assistant manager. Oh, that is wonderful. And she loves it. That is great. That is a praise report. Loney, thank you for sharing that. I know you're so proud of her. Good morning, Linda Newman. Oh, is it the first frost? Brr. I'm glad I brought my plants in last night. Good morning, Alan and Jean Wilkie. I'm so glad that you are here. So glad that you're here. Good morning, Rhonda. Is it cold up there on Gillum Mountain? Cold up there. I think Tracy is watching this morning. I believe my mother is in PT, and I hope that Betty and Mel Dalton are watching this morning and are with us. Yes, it is a little chilly this morning. I haven't got the heaters on down here in the basement yet, so I've got my vest on and a couple layers of shirts. I'm going to start us off with a prayer this morning. I'm going to lift it up from the Book of Common Prayer, the Liturgy for Ordinary Radicals. O Lord, let my soul rise up to meet you as the day rises to meet the sun. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen. You, O Lord, are my lamp. My God, you make my darkness bright. You, O Lord, are my lamp. My God, you make my darkness bright. That was very encouraging this morning. I have a quote here from Martin Luther King, and it just seems kind of appropriate. He says, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an escapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." I like that. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. What a great speaker, orator he was. Tied in a single garment of destiny. Oh, that was just powerful this morning. I wanted to share that with you. Put your prayer concerns in the prayer box this morning, and we will lift those up in prayer. The psalm today is Psalm 18, 21 through 25. The Lord rewarded me because of my righteous dealing. Because my hands were clean, he rewarded me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord and have not offended against my God. For all his judgments are before my eyes, and his decrees I have not put away from me. For I have been blameless with him and have kept myself from iniquity. Therefore, the Lord rewarded me according to my righteous dealing, because of the cleanness of my hands in his sight. Because of the cleanness of my hands in his sight. You, O Lord, are my lamp, my God, make my darkness bright. This morning, good morning, Betty. I'm so glad you're here. I'm praying for you. So glad you're here. Alan and Jean Wilkie, I'm praying for you in Myrtle Beach. In Myrtle Beach, I hope you're having a good time. Linda Newman, I sure have missed you. Praying for you this morning. Praying for you. In Joel this morning, chapter 1, 15 through 20, it's a very short verse, and I'm reading it out of the Common English Bible this morning. What a terrible day. The day of the Lord is near. It comes like chaos from the Almighty. Isn't the food cut off right before our eyes? Aren't joy and gladness also gone from our God's house? The grain shrivels under the shovels. The barns are empty. The granaries are in ruin because the grain has dried up. How the animals groan. Herds of cattle are in distress because there is no pasture for them. Even the flocks of sheep pant. To you, Lord, I cry, for fire has completely destroyed the pastures of the wilderness, and flames have burned all the trees of the field. Even the field's wild animals cry to you because the streams have dried up. The fire has completely destroyed the meadows of the wilderness. And that is the end of chapter 1. Joel here is, if you were with me yesterday, is sharing very poetically. His prophet, as a prophet, is describing the locust plague, which may or may not have been a real locust plague, but things are in chaos. Or he's predicting that things will be in chaos, and even the daily offering in the temple will be ceased. And he is calling everyone to mourn and to go to God in penance. And he is saying here in his the description that even the wild animals will cry to God for deliverance. And so this disaster here, this natural disaster that he is describing could be COVID today. It could be COVID. This virus, it has been like a disaster. It has caused trauma. It has caused anxiety and stress. The mental health of people may not be strong if they are not resilient. The resilience factor also depends on how many other stressors or previous disasters or that type of tragedy has befallen a person, how their recovery might be. But right now, this chaos that we're experiencing is causing disruption in everything. It's disruption in the way we do our routines, disruption in people learning how to cook, maybe for the first time, disruptions in how schools and churches and businesses work. So out of those disruptions, new life forms and a new way is etched out. We will make it to a new way, and it will most likely look different than the old way. And so this disruption will cause us to really dig in and find out what is the best that we want to make sure we take with us. What is the best? And what are the things we can give up now that we've seen that we can do without things? What are things we can give up? And Joel here is describing this disaster that's going to come onto the people because of the way they have turned away from God. And ironically, in Revelation, we're going to continue with disaster, but the disaster is aimed at the people who have not accepted God. And so it's a different, Joel is prophesying about disaster for those who did wrong. And in Revelation, the way I'm interpreting it, it's for those who have not accepted God, and the suffering will not hurt those that have. I may be getting it wrong, but that's where I'm coming at it from. So there's a little bit different perspective, but the disaster in both Joel and Revelation is very similar, which is, it's speaking of it in both places here, the type of disasters. And I'm in chapter 9 of Revelations this morning, going 1 through 12. It's going to be hard not to go through the whole thing because it really is powerful. Yesterday we had gone through the 4 angels, and today we're starting with the 5th angels. Good morning, Allison. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm praying for you. Good morning, Lorraine. I am so glad you're here and praying for you. Good morning, Janice Kelsey. I am so glad that you're here and praying for you. You got a big frost in Hartsville, Betty. I haven't been outside, but who is it? Kathy Newman said, Linda Newman said we had a frost here. The 5th angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and the sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss, and out of the smoke locusts came down on the earth and were given power like that of scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plant or tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. They were not allowed to kill them, but only to torture them for 5 months. And the agony they suffered was like that of the sting of a scorpion when it strikes. During those days, people will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them. The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads, they wore something like crowns of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. Their hair was like women's hair, and their teeth like teeth of lions. They had breastplates like breastplates made of iron, and the sound of their wings was like thundering of many horses and chariots rushing into battle. They had tails with stingers like scorpions, and in their tails they had the power to torment people for 5 months. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon, that is, the destroyer. The first woe is past, and 2 woes are yet to come. Now, that's where we're going to stop today, and it's hard not to go forward because it is very, very interesting and powerful. This chapter is. It's interesting here how the locusts are really like horses prepared for battle. And in Joel, when we were reading, it was talking about the locusts as well, and how they would devour everything and not leave anything there. And it was just very similar, that the locusts weren't real locusts, but really were people coming in armies to destroy on horses. When I looked at this, the star that fell from the sky, I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. And I wondered about the fallen star. I wondered if that was Satan, the fallen star. So I was curious about that. I couldn't really find where everybody agreed on that, but that is what it reminded me, because the abyss represents the place of demons and of Satan. So the fallen star was, for me, I used the metaphor with Satan and the king of demons. And the king over them, the angel of the abyss, if we're saying that is Satan, then the name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon, which both mean the destroyer. And I wonder if this is the term Apollyon, and the people in Greece worshipped Apollo, if there was any connection there. um, with that, because it definitely is. The Greek is Apollon, the destroyer, and I just wondered if he was using any terminology here based on the Greek. So these were demons set loose to torture people who did not believe in God, is from what I'm taking from this. And they could, and notice there were limitations on the demons. They could only do it for 5 months, only 5 months. Now, I'm not sure where that comes from, where the 5 months. There must be some significance somewhere with the 5 months. They were controlled. So the locusts, I'm guessing, are demons, and they're ruled by Satan to tempt people to sin. I don't think they were created by Satan, but created by God, because he is the creator of all. But I believe the fallen angels are Satan or Satan's angels that work with Satan. And I believe that this is showing very similar to what the prophet Joel is talking about, except this is for people who have accepted Christ or not, the Lord. And in Joel, it's really those who are repenting or not for their sins. So it's a little bit of difference, but how similar they both are, how very similar they both are. So John, who's writing this, may have been trying, I'm thinking, to say to the Greeks, if you're worshiping Apollo, you are worshiping Satan. So I was wondering about that, if that's what John was saying here in this Revelations. As I'm thinking about all this in relation to my life, and the changes that have been in they call it disruption, and what COVID is doing for medicine, for everything. It has disrupted and causing change, but to find the opportunities that come out of this are what gives us hope, what gives us the hope. Good morning, Janice. I'm so glad you're here and praying for you. Good morning, Jackie Chaka. I'm so glad you're here and praying for you. Connie Cooper, I've missed you. I'm so glad you're here and praying for you. I hope all is well in Virginia up there. I don't know how things are going up there as far as COVID goes, if you are in increased lockdown or in a lesser place of lockdown. What I do know is that in disasters, in crisis, people are affected by it differently, but people are affected by it to different degrees. And it is maybe the first response to pull inward, especially if that is your nature when you come upon a stress. But God is calling us to focus outward and to reach out and to help our neighbor and to help each other and to love each other during this time. And that is what binds us together during disasters and crisis, is how we reach out for others. And I always am doing research on churches and how they're responding in this virus and time, and thinking about, well, not only churches, but businesses too. But people in a business, whether you're open or closed, or churches open or closed, it is less important, whether you're open or not, than why you're open or not. And people are watching the why you're opening, or why you're choosing to be open or partially opened, or it is about loving your people and being there for your people and showing your love for them. And what oftentimes happens is there's this selfishness that it's natural for us to be selfish. And so we want things for us. And that's the same in business or in church, that we want church this way. And that is a selfish way. It has to be this way for me. I want, and they're expecting the church to give to them, rather than saying, I want, what can I do? What can I do for you? What can I do during this time for the community? What can I do to go outward, outside of where you normally are? And thinking about that, in a crisis, we have to do what is best for others and not what is best for ourselves. We have to put others first in a crisis. And you will find the opportunity if you look for it, even in where everybody wants this to happen or that to happen. You will find an opportunity that is almost handed to you if you will look for it and reinvent how you do your mission. Whether you're a business and you have a mission, or whether you're a church and have a mission, or your school, pull that mission out. And that is what to focus on. The way you do it may be different, but focus on your mission and go after it. Go after it. That is where I am looking at gratitude. And I think that we have to sink our time and energy into finding those opportunities, finding the opportunities. And I'm wondering what you guys are doing for Christmas, for Advent, during the holidays in your churches that may or may not be completely opened. I'm really curious. Your church is open today from 8 to 8 for prayer for our country and leaders. Oh, that is wonderful, Alan. Now, that is a way of reaching out. That is a way of saying to your community, I am here for you. I love that. Love that. How can our churches serve the community? How can our churches be places for the children who don't have internet on e-learning days to use our facilities? How can we do that? I know that the YMCA is looking for churches for them to bring the workers and the children, bus them over and use the facilities and be responsible for them. And they're looking for churches to open their doors for that. They need space because so many children don't have internet, or because of the social distancing, the Y can only take so many, so they need other multiple places where they can bring the children. Well, I think it's important for us to share as faith-based people how we are going to go through Christmas together in this new place, a new way. If any of you are interested, we've got an awesome children's leader here at our church. And we have Sunday, matter of fact, we are getting together and putting together kits for Advent wreaths for children. And the Advent wreaths will have artificial wreath, and then they will have 5 candles, the battery operated candles that will go on, and one in the middle. And the children will have strips of colored paper to go around the candle, and they will write the word, whether it's joy or love, the names of the 4 candles, the Advent candles, the purple and the pink, and then white will be in the center of the Christ candle. And then each Sunday during Sunday school, we are still doing Sunday school by Zoom, the children will focus on that one candle and what it means. And we have some liturgy that goes with that. And that will be a part of their Sunday school lesson each Sunday. So if you want a kit like that, you message me with your address and I will ship you one. It is a time for us to celebrate in a new way. I think our adults, I'm not positive, but I think our adults are going to be creating Advent wreaths for people to use at home as well. I don't know if they're going to do it in kits or if they're going to do it, come in and make one. I'm not sure, so that we can celebrate at home. Oh, okay, Lorraine. So you've just started doing communion again. You baking the bread. What kind of bread? Our pastor blesses the elements and puts them in Ziploc bags for folks to pick up. We do communion as we also do our services on Facebook. So everybody picks up their communion kit. That's got to be way better than the little prepared plastic things with the wafer. I know they're communion, but they're not. It's just not like regular. So I want to know what kind of bread you make and how that is just an awesome idea to be able to have it packaged like that for people to pick up. And then they can do it at home. And I don't know how we're going to get through worship, Advent, without some way to visualize things that are important to you, like light. It might be luminaires, candles, the candles in the drive of the church for Christmas Eve. So I'm interested in learning what you are doing about Advent and how you are making it special for those families and congregations who are learning a new way and learning what is most important from the traditions of the past. So what is most important that we can create something new like that to provide that. You've been baking the sourdough bread for years. Lorraine, you are awesome, You're doing outside nativity scenes for drive-through. That is great, Alan. I'd like more information about that. That is wonderful that you're doing that. That would be a great thing to do on Christmas Eve too, wouldn't it? So look, keep the ideas flowing about how we're going to do that. And think about how can we help our city or our community during Christmas? How can we get everybody involved in the church and not just a handful? How can everybody commit to some way of giving back in our cities and communities during Christmas? And I believe that the power of God during this time is what will give us hope, And you know what I'm coming to discover as I work with clergy is that churches have to make a decision, and so do restaurants, for right now. You can't think about, because we don't know what the future is going to hold, but you make decisions for what is best right now. What is best to keep your people connected and to keep your relationships strong, not only just your social relationships, but your faith relationships strong during this time. And that is what we need. We have to pull our mission out and we have to focus on that. We can't focus on what was in the past. And we can't focus too far in the future because we don't know what that's going to bring. We have to focus on what is best for us right now. How can we do this better right now? And online worship is definitely still, it's going to stay with us even after everybody, so to speak, gets well enough to come back to church or whatever, because people have gotten used to that and it's convenient and they will continue, some people, to worship online. Some may never come back into the church again. And that's okay, but we have to provide that same type of experience online to our people and improve that experience because it is here to stay. And we need to do the best we can with that experience. The funeral that I went to yesterday was virtual of my Uncle Bobby, and it was on Facebook Live. And it was wonderful that's the first virtual funeral I've been to, but it was great to be able to be there. Like I was sitting in a pew right there and to hear the eulogy and to hear the music. No singing, but we heard music, and it was really great. I was so thankful because I could not have driven there even if it had been no COVID, but for me to be able to be a part of it right now was great. And I was so thankful, so thankful. Yeah, I know the video equipment is really going to be very powerful for being able to share and keep people, the mental health of each other is really about staying connected. And if you don't have a way of seeing people to see the people you were connected to, it makes it harder. It makes it harder, and not to be able to see the children and not to be able to see other people who won't come back to church. It is going to be hard, especially during Christmas. But you know, churches need to make decisions based on now, what's needed right now. That's what I've come to decide, is we can't focus too far ahead. Pray for Austin. He's getting follow-up COVID tests today, praying that it's negative. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers for Austin, that his test is negative, Lord. In your mercy, hear our prayers. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers for those who are present here this morning and those who are not. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers for the spoken and the unspoken prayers this morning. Lord, in your mercy, lifting up those people whose hands and feet are yours and are following you, who make the bread, who are the nativity, who are reaching out, who are connecting in the community. The hands and feet of Christ, Lord, they are here, and I am so grateful. Lord, bless them. Lord, lift them up. Give them courage, Lord, to continue this work. Be with our country today, Lord, as we go through this election day, and allow us to be Christians in the midst of all of it. Allow us, Lord, to be calm, to have courage, to stand up for what is right. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Be with our hospitals, Lord. Be with our churches, our educators, our children, and our parents, Lord. In your mercy, hear our prayers. Hear our prayers, Lord. In your mercy, hear our prayers. Thank you. You have a great day, a great Tuesday. Be positive today, and to think about how you can be the hands and feet of Christ. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday, November the 4th at 8:30. Bye. Love you all. Thank you for sharing your ideas, and let's keep sharing.